My name is Maddie. I study the generational memory, bridging the psychology of the mind with the philosophy of the human condition. For a long time, I treated the spiritual journey like a map with a final destination. I thought that if I just wandered long enough, I would eventually find the sovereign state, a place of perfect static peace where I finally had all the answers. But that is an illusion. It is a textbook trap. The truth is, there is no destination. The end of the journey isn't arriving at a castle. It is the sudden, jarring realization that you have been the sovereign the entire time. I am not a guru, and this channel is not a classroom. I am a student sharing my own research into esoteric idealism, shadow work, and the mechanics of self-governance. We are not here to search for an external truth. We are here to dismantle the programming that makes us forget our own authority. The goal here is collaboration. I want you to challenge these ideas, drop your own research in the comments, and tell me what directions we should investigate next. Let's build the blueprints together.
Let's dive right in. I'm Maddie, and today we are executing a mechanical teardown of human existence. We're stripping away all the mystical fluff, the poetry, and that vague spirituality you usually hear when people talk about finding yourself. Instead, we're going to look at the hard architecture, the systems, and the literal physics of a framework known as the sovereign eclectic. So if you've ever felt like the promise of some ultimate, peaceful destination is a complete lie, well, this explainer is going to validate exactly why and show you the actual machinery of what you should be doing instead.
Here's the schematic for today's explainer. 1. The illusion of destinations. 2. The engine of existence. 3. The sovereign bridge. 4. Origins of cognitive dualism. 5. The trickster archetype. And finally, 6. Mastering dynamic balance. Let's get to work.
Section 1. The illusion of destinations. Now, the absolute biggest trap in any psychological or spiritual journey is the belief in a final, static destination. People love the idea that if you just do the right things, you'll eventually reach this permanent state of perfect peace. But in the sovereign eclectic framework, static peace is not a goal. It's actually a system failure. Stillness without purpose leads directly to fragility. Think about the mechanics of stability for a second. A rigid beam relies on perfect centering and zero motion. But the moment it gets hit by a single external force, what this framework calls pressure, it just topples over. Now contrast that with a spinning disk. It's perfectly stable, but its stability is achieved through continuous motion. That is dynamic balance. The true destination isn't stopping, it's becoming the sovereign wanderer, someone who is constantly, dynamically balancing the tensions of reality. You stand upright precisely because you are moving.
Section 2. The engine of existence. To really understand this wanderer, we have to pop the hood and look at the engine driving all this continuous motion.
It runs on a dualistic model called the 0-1 framework. First, we have the zero. And we're defining this objectively here, not as some distant, mystical heaven, but as pure potential. Think of it mechanically as this infinite, incredibly fast vibrating energy, where time literally doesn't even exist. It's the unmanifested source. It's raw data. It's a chaos that, mathematically speaking, is actually just perfect, unknowable order.
On the exact opposite side, we have the one, manifestation. This is the concrete, tangible, everyday reality we actually live in. It gets created when the extreme high-frequency energy of the zero slows its vibration down enough to form observable matter, action, and articulated reality. It functions as the solid, structural counterpart to the zero.
So here is our mechanical problem. We've got infinite, unmanifested potential on one side and highly structured, concrete reality on the other. How do we get from 0 to 1? What is the actual functional human role in this massive cosmic engine?
Section 3. The sovereign bridge.
The answer to that question is you. You are the mechanism. Your architectural purpose is absolutely not to escape the one so you can go permanently hide in the zero. That's that static trap we just talked about. Your purpose is to act as the sovereign bridge. You are simultaneously connected to the unmanifested potential of the zero through your deep, nonverbal intuition while being completely grounded in the manifested reality of the one. So the second step in this flow, the bridge, is the literal act of conscious translation. It's taking a profound, chaotic spark from the zero and physically translating it into the one. You speak it, you build it, you act on it. We wander through the one to experience it, but we anchor ourselves in the zero to remain completely sovereign.
Section 4. Origins of Cognitive Dualism. Now, you might be thinking this 0 and 1 concept sounds like some neat modern philosophical construct,
But it's not. Historical and psychological research literally proves this dualism is hardwired right into our cognitive evolution. We're pulling directly here from a fascinating study published in the Journal of Student Research titled The Psychological Origins of Religion. This paper observes that early humans evolved a very specific cognitive adaptation. We naturally and automatically split the world into two distinct observable systems.
On one side, we categorize the physical world, objects, bodies, concrete rules. This maps absolutely perfectly to the one. On the other side, we have the psychological world, intentions, unseen minds, souls. This maps directly to the zero. The research suggests that early humans basically experienced a cognitive overshoot, where our psychological system started seeing purpose and unseen intention absolutely everywhere. This dualism accidentally birthed religion as a psychological byproduct, mainly to enforce mass social cooperation. But the key takeaway here is that our brains are fundamentally, biologically wired to process this exact tension between the seen and the unseen.
Section 5. The Trickster Archetype.
Because this dualism is baked into our biology, humans have spent millennia trying to figure out how to navigate the messy space between the physical and the psychological. And across almost every ancient culture, they came up with the exact same mythic mechanism. They created the trickster. As scholar Lewis Hyde points out, the trickster is the mythic embodiment of ambiguity, paradox, and doubleness. Mechanically speaking, the trickster is the ultimate archetypal boundary crosser. They are the ones uniquely equipped to walk freely back and forth between the realm of the gods, the zero, and the realm of mortals, the one.
It's actually incredible to see how completely disparate cultures independently designed these exact same mechanisms. The Greeks had Hermes, the Norse had Loki, Chinese mythology gives us the Monkey King, and West African traditions revere Ishu. Now, none of these figures were the absolute high gods of perfect static order, and none of them were mere mortals either. They were transformers. They bent rigid rules, acting as the highly dynamic engine between two states of reality.
But there is a massive operational difference between a trickster and a fool. The fool plays within the established rules. A jester mocking a king acts as a safety valve to release social pressure, which ultimately just preserves the status quo. The trickster, on the other hand, actively changes the rules. They penetrate boundaries, they destroy old structures, and they translate entirely new realities into existence. The trickster doesn't just passively cope with the reality of the one, they actively redraw it, using the infinite potential of the zero.
Section 6. Mastering Dynamic Balance. So how do we actually apply this architecture? Let's bring this all down to a practical, operational conclusion. How do you achieve true self-governance in the modern world? It starts with a simple, emergent mathematical formula. 1 + 1 = 3. When you consciously integrate your unmanifested potential with your articulated action, you don't just get a sum of parts, you get a completely new emergent whole. That 3 is the sovereign self. You become a self-governed system operating entirely in control of your own internal authority. To maintain this, you follow a strict operational protocol. First, reject stasis. Never try to stop the pendulum from swinging. Second, act as your own sovereign regulator. Third, cultivate anti-fragility. And fourth, love the wind. When external stressors or chaos hit that spinning disk of yours, do not let them topple you. You literally use that disorder as fresh data to make micro-corrections and keep on spinning.
Because here's the ultimate truth of this framework. You inherently contain both the zero and the one. Therefore, the journey was never, ever about finding something external. It is purely about recognizing the architecture you are already an integral part of. If static peace is just an illusion designed to keep you fragile, are you finally ready to stop seeking a destination, take control of your mechanics, and start spinning the disk? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this helped you see reality and your place in it in a whole new way.